Hi, my Wellish sisters. TikTok has spoken and it has informed us that it is not just the kiddos and the teachers that are going back to school this fall. It is all of us. We're all getting roped into this shit, but this time we are not just the student. This time we're the student, the teacher, the principal, everything included. So, what are we talking about? What is the trend? Monthly curriculums, bitch. Is it worth it? Is it just another scam for toxic productivity? Is it just another thing to measure our worth off of? Or is it the most genius thing that's ever been created? Let's talk about it. I have my skepticism, okay? But I think that it has a lot of potential to benefit our personal development if we can do this in a wellish way. Before your girl gets carried away too far on a tangent, as we know she loves to do, I want to remind you to please rate and review the show. It really helps push the show out to all of our Wellish sisters and brothers. Yes, brothers too. I'm sorry. I know I always speak to the girlies, but I know there are some of you out there. So I would love to make sure that you guys are helping each other out by getting this content out to more people like ourselves so that we don't have to be stuck under this constant pressure of never feeling like we are enough. So we can be imperfect, but we can still be our ideal selves. With that in mind, we're helping other people. Make sure to help yourself as well and subscribe to the show so you don't miss any Wellish content. This trend was created by someone named Elizabeth Jean, and people have ate it the fuck up and wanted to take a part in it. And I think that a lot of the time, it looks like it could be type A people. Like that's what my brain just gravitates to. But I don't think that's actually true because it seems that most of the people that are partaking in this trend are not some aesthetic influencers that are like trying to make themselves look better than other people for doing this monthly curriculum. It seems to just be the girlies. Like it's just every regular person like you and I that is jumping on this trend. Essentially, what the trend is you create in a document. A lot of the time, people are using Notion and they are creating a document of their curriculum, what they want to study. And it's not like we're back in school, it's not like you're going to biology and algebra and Spanish class, okay? It is whatever the fuck you want it to be, like whatever you want to learn. And I think that a lot of people are doing this to step away from being so into the hustle culture and only learning things that will benefit them monetarily or, in whatever similar professional sense, and that it's just something that benefits themselves. There's been several variations of how people are doing this, but the most common, the most trendy way that people are making this happen is they are going to their library or to their at home library and they are picking out several books in different areas, all different areas of things that they want to learn about, and reading those books throughout the month. I can't help but wonder like why this is trending right now when we are headed back into school. Like I know I said that at the beginning, but like and I was kind of kidding, but like because like isn't that crazy that like all the kids are headed back into school at the moment and this is when this trend is popping off? Like I think we might all be having a little bit of back to school nostalgia. Are we all just fucking programmed to like want to learn and grow at the beginning of fall, the end of August, so that like what? Like because we just have lived like that since we were 5 years old, no matter how old we are at this point. I think it's absolutely hilarious, but whatever works, you know what I mean? Whatever we can lean into to help us learn, I'm all for it. The other thing I couldn't help but notice is that we're 5 years past the pandemic, but we're actually only like 2-ish years since life started to go back to normal, which really isn't that long. And obviously, we give a lot of credit to how the pandemic impacted our lives so greatly. But something I think we don't give a lot of credit to when it comes to the pandemic and how it fucked up our lives is like the regular structure of how we live. Like, there's so many people working remotely now, there's so many people working for themselves now. We realized so much of what's possible in the free for all aspect of life, especially with social media making it look like you could just make a bunch of money on the internet and you can just fuck off for life. You don't have to like follow the corporate ladder like we may have really fallen into, before the pandemic happened. Who knows? Because the internet was still a thing. You never know what could have really turned out. But I just think that that really does still impact us, and it wasn't that long ago. So I think people might be craving a little bit of structure and routine. We all just need a little bit of purpose. You know what I mean? We just want to feel like we're living a life with a little bit of meaning. And a lot of people like to share that purpose and that meaning on social media and share their personal growth with other people, inspire others to take part in it as well. So I think all of those things are kind of factoring into what's going on and why this curriculum trend is so big right now. I want to start by sharing what I think is good about this trend, and then I will get into what I think is not so good, what things could really get us into trouble. Okay, I'm going to briefly touch on this one and then I'm going to breeze past it because if I talk about it for too long, I will start to pick it the fuck apart. And I'm not going to do that until I start talking to you guys about the bad things because I really want to try to focus here on the good things. But the first one is that I think it can build routine, and routine feels good for people. The reason why I would pick it apart is because it only does this and benefits us if we can do it without burnout, but I'll get into that later. I think that if we can build a routine for ourselves and have a little bit of structure in our life, it causes us to not feel like we need to have some grandiose, wonderful life moment happening for us. It kind of grounds us, brings us back into reality, and makes us feel like we're doing right by ourselves and doing good by ourselves just because we've got some structured momentum in our day. The other thing that I think it really creates, and I think this is like the number one good thing about the monthly curriculum, is that it builds a sense of purpose. But further than that, it does that by allowing us to connect with ourselves further. I think a lot of the time when we feel we have no purpose or we're flailing to figure out who we are, it's just that we're not connected to ourselves. I think this also happens when we are too far into toxic productivity and hustle culture in order to feel like we are doing something to create a better life for ourselves and are getting burnt out when we're not receiving instant gratification, but we keep pushing and trying because we want so badly to prove our worth and to feel like we are living a good life. And on the other end of the spectrum, I think we lose connection with ourselves when we're in our like giving up, surrender, nothing works out for me anyways sort of mode. We've got to find the sweet spot between the two of those things. If that's something that sounds like you that you would benefit from, make sure to listen to last week's episode. But I think the monthly curriculum really benefits us when we are slipping into one of those two pitfalls because it allows us to reconnect with ourselves because we are choosing topics that we are just genuinely interested in. We're not being forced to learn something that we don't give a fuck about. Like, I don't give a fuck about the how atoms are formed or the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Like we don't care about, I mean, maybe you care about it and you can look that up and that could be a part of your curriculum. But like my point is you can look up, I saw a girl on TikTok that was researching octopuses because she says she's a girly that likes to give random animal facts to people and the octopus has always fascinated her. So she's literally reading about octopuses. Is that octopi? Octopi, sorry. But yeah, like it sounds like octopussy. That's from what's that from? New Girl? Yeah. But yeah, like I mean it gets us connected with the things that we like because I mean that's what figuring out who you are really comes down to. A lot of the time when we've spent so much of our time people pleasing and living for other people and not really knowing who we are, the direction we want to go in our life, we are so disconnected from ourselves that we don't even know what we like. And this is an exercise that without pressure, we have to say, what is it that I want to learn about? And you pick anything that you like and anything that you want to learn more about, and you start studying it. And by studying it, you maybe like it more, you maybe like it less, you find a different aspect of it that you like, and it helps you get connected with yourself. And by doing all of this, it creates these little daily wins that are actually trackable. Like, not that we have to track the wins. Like, I'm not telling you to whip out a journal and to fucking track all your goddamn wins. Like, don't do that. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. But It's a noticing. It's a simple noticing when someone's like, "Hey, what's new?" and you actually have something to share with them. When someone's like, "Oh, what were you doing yesterday?" and you can say, "Oh, yeah, I was just reading this article on the blah blah blah." Blah." Like it just makes you feel a little bit more elevated. It makes you feel like you have something to be proud of yourself for. And because of all of those little wins and the being connected with yourself and having purpose, it builds your confidence. So, my monthly curriculum that I set out to do at the beginning of August was about narrative journalism because something that I'm trying to do is become a freelance writer. I want to be able to write articles, submit them to publications, and be paid to do that essentially. And that's what I went to school for. I went to my bachelor's is in digital media journalism. So I would love to apply that, but I just haven't found a area that I want to do that in. And a lot of the time when I'm looking for jobs in that area, since I've looked for jobs since I graduated in 2020, it has all been like the things that I actually want to write for and work for is all freelance. So it's like I want to try to make that happen for myself, but I was beating myself up and beating myself up, beating myself up for not taking the action on that. And I took it upon myself to take advantage of this monthly curriculum to learn about the style of journalism that I resonate the most with. And as I'm doing the curriculum and I am applying what I set out to do, and I'm reading articles and I'm reading essays and I'm doing comprehensive worksheets about the articles and how I could use them to benefit my writing, what styles, what things I would do, what I wouldn't do, it all helps build my confidence that I am capable of becoming a freelance writer. Because another factor of this is that I'm seeing other freelance writers that are successful, exposing myself to people that are in this career field. That builds my confidence because it brings it into my reality. So even if it's not something that you use to your benefit in like that sort of a way, and it is something that you just want to look up octopi, you are still proud of yourself and building confidence because you're learning something new, because you are taking it upon yourself to educate yourself. And I swear to God, that sets you apart from the majority. Like the fact that you want to learn and grow and become more educated sets you apart from the majority. That makes you such a badass. And I think another great benefit to this is that we can all connect and talk about it, whether you're doing that online or offline. You can connect with other people that are doing this, inspire other people to take part in this. Like, if you tell your friend and your friend thinks that sounds like a great idea, you guys can have conversations about it. It just creates and opens up this portal for new, like, micro communities that you guys are learning together and trying to expand yourselves together. I just think that's it's such a cool thing that this allows for. So I think the number one thing that I want to get across about the good side of the monthly curriculum trend is that it is one of the only trends that I think actually benefits you without pressure. That it's not like a do these steps and become this person. You're not good enough until you do X. Like it's not like that. It's really hands off. It's really like whatever you want it to be at your own pace, in your own way, you can make this happen. I think a lot of the time with trends, it is very much like this is what works for me, but it might not work for you, but it's never worded that way. It's always like, this is the thing that's gonna make you become just like me and see how great my life is. They don't actually say those words, but we see that it's illustrated through what they're talking about and what their life looks like online. And we feel this like longing and like we'll never achieve what we want to achieve, we'll never reach it to their level, but that's because we're all individuals that need different functions in order to get to our individual best selves. No two people's best self looks the same, even though it might, because, there's things that we all agree on that would make us our best selves, but no two people will get there in the same way, and no two people's lives will look 1000% exactly the same. And so it moves away from the personal development idea that you have to follow steps in order to achieve a copy paste goal, and that unless you do it this way, you're not going to achieve this goal and you're not going to have a good life. And it moves into the expanding openness of you just get to do whatever the fuck you want and make it make you feel good. Okay, let's get into the bad side because I love to rip a fucking part a good self improvement trend. Before we get too far away from that burnout piece that I was talking about, let's talk about that because, again, I really think this could build routine if you can do it without burning yourself out. But a lot of the time, when we say we're going to implement a new learning habit into our lives, we take it too far and we burn ourselves the fuck out. We use it as another excuse to determine our self worth by our output. And we think that if we do more, we will achieve greater, more wonderful results. This is not to achieve some great, wonderful results. You can use it in that way. So if you do use it in that way, you have to be careful. Like, this is where I'm at. I am using it as a way to benefit me and to learn more so I can advance my career, but I have to be careful not to beat myself up with it, which I have already fallen victim to. I was literally in the shower the other day and was like, God, I haven't done it in 5 days. Okay. I was doing it consistently, the curriculum, and then I had to do stuff for Wellish and I had to do stuff for work. And I have a book club tonight that I'm going to. So I needed to make sure I was reading my book. And because it's like, especially with the book club, and that's for fun, and the reading is just for fun, that when things seem that they're for fun and they're not for like long-term benefit or for professional gain, that they can just be like thrown on the off to the wayside, that they're not as important, even though it's a commitment that I committed to, that I told my friend that I would read this book and come to her book club. That's important. That's important. It's important for me to do what I signed up to do. It's important for me to be a good friend and follow through. And it's not something to push to the wayside. But because I did prioritize that and it was for fun, I found myself the other day in the shower being like, you're never going to make this happen for yourself. See, you fucking fall off. You go these few days without doing what you said you were going to do. This is never going to work out for you. And it was like, whoa, 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 dude. Like, you are in a stage of change that you are only taking a little bit of action right now. Like, you are maybe still a little bit in the preparation stage, that you are taking some action, but figuring out how you are going to make the article writing happen. And that's why I'm learning about it right now with the monthly curriculum. And I have to honor the fact that I'm there. And that does not look like doing it flawlessly every single day without break. Like that. And that means that I'm failing and I'm never going to make it and I suck. That's not how that works. And so I think that you just have to be careful that this isn't another thing that you are using to create rules for yourself and then beat yourself up for not following your own rules. Majorly guilty of that over here. Like, that is just so ridiculous. And in that same vein, you want to be careful to not accidentally fall into like image overhaul. Like, you are positioning this to be some like glow up, wonderful, look how great I'm becoming. Like, don't fall into like that trap. It's literally not that serious. It's literally just to help you learn something. And it's not so that you can prove yourself to be some wonderful being that is learning all of this stuff and needs to pack as much information into her brain as possible in order to finally become what I always said I wanted to become. Like, that's too much pressure. That's too much pressure, sister. Ease up. Back off, okay? We're just learning about something simple that we have chosen ourselves to work on. Don't think about how it would look to other people on the outside that you're learning this thing. Only think about yourself. You're only doing this for yourself, and nobody actually gives a fuck. It's literally just you in your head pretending like other people give a fuck because you're so programmed to operate from a place of what other people think of you, how other people will perceive you, that you are, even when you're doing things for your own self, subconsciously like looking at it from the perspective of other people. Don't do that. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to mention about the burnout piece, I almost forgot. The other thing I wanted to mention about burnout is while I'm watching this trend, literally so many people are choosing to do so many topics in 1 month. And I don't understand that. Like, I don't understand why you have picked like 5 topics. When I'm watching these videos, I'm literally watching the video for like 10 minutes because they are explaining every single book that they got from the library to read about. And it's like they'll pick like 2 for each topic and you have like 5 topics. Like that is too much pressure to do in 1 month. I don't know about you, but like I only read, and I'm a fucking reader, dude. Like I have been known to read several books in a month, and I have not read more than 8 books in a month, and I mean, that's a lot. Like that was a lot of books. I was spending a lot of my time reading. So that's kind of a lot of pressure to put on yourself. So like no shit, if you are signing up to read all of those, to do all of that and learn all these subjects, it's probably pretty likely that you're going to get burnt out and fed up with it and fall off of it, which is the other thing I keep seeing in these videos is everybody's finishing them up being like, "So this is my monthly curriculum. I really hope I stick with it." Or they're telling me about how they have tried to do the artist's way in the past and that's part of their monthly curriculum and that this is their insert number of time trying to do the artist way because they can never stick with it. Like set yourself up for success. Don't put your pressure on yourself to like do this overhaul of learning. Like maybe start with like one topic, just a thought, and try to incorporate that for 30 minutes into your day just to pop some new learning into your life. Like, and it doesn't we keep saying monthly curriculum. Like it doesn't have to be a month. It can be however long you want. It can be 3 months. It can be, like I said, quarterly at the beginning of this. Like it doesn't have to be, it can be 6 weeks, like maybe you can set a deadline for yourself so that you have a little bit of structure, but like ease up, dog. Like you're signing yourself up to be disappointed. I hate to say it, but unless you're a fucking machine, it's not going to happen. The other trap that I think we could really fall into here is the comparison trap, especially because it's a social media trend and we're seeing other people do this on the internet. I think it's really easy to compare ourselves to other people and how they are executing this. And I think we can do this in 2 different ways, and neither of them are good. And I really love this perspective because it can be applied to so many different aspects of personal development. But this time we're just going to be talking about comparison. But the biggest thing is we can either slip into the comparison of, God, they do this so much better than me. I wish I was doing it like that. Wow, this person stuck with it and I couldn't do that. This person sets time aside and goes to a coffee shop and she does all of these worksheets and she's got this beautiful Notion board and she's learning things like the stock market and I'm just learning about octopi. Like it's not like an invitation for you to compare yourself to other people and beat yourself up by doing that. So we can fall into that aspect of the comparison trap, but we can also fall into the aspect of the comparison trap that we think we're better than other people. That you think because you are following a monthly curriculum and other people in your life are not doing that, and because you're learning, your God complex might accidentally kick in and you think, look at all the stuff I'm learning. I'm so educated. I'm so intelligent. Look at me. I'm so great for doing this. Like the confidence that we talked about in the good side section could accidentally slip into ego because you think that your output is determined, your self-worth is determined by your output. And so if you have all of this output and you're doing all of this learning, that must put you above other people. It positions you in better than others. And while you can be proud of yourself for doing something that most people don't do, and you should be, stay humble, sister. All right? Like, take it easy. Because if you're comparing yourself in the sense that you think you're better than other people, without fail, someone will come along that does it better than you, and you will instantly feel disappointed. You will instantly feel like you're not good enough. You will instantly feel like there's something more you could do to level back up. You will not come out of the comparison trap if you are doing either of those 2 things. You have to find the middle ground between the 2. You have to be humble and proud of yourself that you are doing this for yourself. This has nothing to do with anybody else. This is only to do with you and how you live your life and how you want to structure your day. That's it. Don't try to bring everybody else into this. This is your choice that you want to do this monthly curriculum and learn more for yourself and better you. Like, stop thinking about every other people so much. Another problem I have with the monthly curriculum, now I'm getting fired up, is that it can be performative. Like, if you are doing this for the external reward, if you're doing this for external validation, if you're doing this because you think that it would look good for you to be learning things, for you to be an intelligent person, for you to be able to share it with your friends and family, that is performative if it does not align with how you feel inside. If how you feel inside is exhausted, or you feel insecure, or you feel like you could be better, or you feel like you're not good enough until you learn more, that is not living authentically. You have to actually want to do this because you genuinely want to do it. And when you do it, you genuinely have to feel good doing it. And if you don't do that, if you feel burnt out by this, if you feel exhausted by this, and you're continuing to push yourself to do it, your external performance is not in alignment with your internal reality. So it can turn into this performative la-ti-da thing that you're doing, and that will not stick. You will not be able to stick with it for the long term. So all of you that are talking about, oh, I want to make sure that I stick with it, just make sure that you're connecting with yourself. Make sure that you are doing it because you genuinely want to do it, and you have to do it in a way that it actually makes you feel good. And if doing it in a way that makes you feel good is doing it for 10 minutes a day at first, and maybe building on it as you continue on and you structure this into your life a little bit more, then so be it. Because if you don't like it, if it's not something that feels good, you will not do it. It's not something that you will stick with. And the little work you put in over time is going to add up so much more than you trying to fucking shove output into your daily routine, because the little daily things that you do will build your belief loop that you are a person that enjoys to learn. It will build the identity that you are a person that likes to incorporate this into your life, and it'll incorporate the identity that you're somebody that is educated on narrative journalism, you're educated on rocket science, you're educated on the stock market, whatever it is that what you're educated on, gardening, like whatever it is you want to learn about, the small daily intake that you are learning will allow you to build that identity and soak it in more and want to do it more. But it's not going to work if you're coming from a place of look at what I can do and shove everything into my life, and I'm going to structure it this way and do all of this as much as I can. It's too much. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Don't do it. Don't do that, dude. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't make this another thing that feels like an overwhelming, daunting chore in your day, a thing to check off of your to-do list, something else that you use and as an excuse to beat yourself up and stress yourself out. Stop it. That is not the point of this. It's literally just for your own enjoyment and for your own connection with who you are. So with all of this in mind, is it worth it to do the monthly curriculum, to take that on? Coming from the perspective of someone who is very invested in personal development, and from the perspective of someone who has spent the last 2-3 weeks since the beginning of August doing the monthly curriculum, I absolutely 100% think it's worth it if you can maintain the for me energy. If you feel yourself slipping into hustle or slipping into giving up, you have to remember to come back to the middle ground like we talked about last week. How do you do that? You make your nervous system feel safe. You regulate your nervous system. You recognize what stage of change you are in and honor and respect that stage of change. And that stage of change can even be something as far back as not being aware that you need to make a change. Then it turns into being aware that you need to make a change but not knowing what to do. Then it turns into the preparation of that, thinking about what you want to do and figuring out what you want to do, then taking action, then maintenance, then it integrates into your life. Like, you have to realize that every single stage of this is a part of change, and you have to honor where you're at. And knowing that allows you to give yourself a little bit of grace. And then the third thing you do in order to bring yourself back to the middle is taking small daily action over time to support the belief that you are the kind of person that integrates this into their life. I think the monthly curriculum is something that really fits with Wellish too. Like, it really comes from a place of curiosity over competition, especially without the aesthetics tied to it and the trying to do it for gain aspect of it. That it's literally just like, I'm curious about this. Like, I think this would be cool to know more about. So I'm going to try to learn about it. And I think that's another reason why it fits so well into the Wellish mentality, is because it's just this low pressure thing that we can do in order to grow, that there's not this intenseness tied to it. There's no deadlines that are involved with it. There's no, this is how you're supposed to do it. And if you don't do it this way, you won't reach this result. Like, none of that is involved in this. It's just like your own thing. It is self led, and it doesn't have to be perfect because it's self led. You just do it at your own pace, at your own free will, about whatever you want in any way you want. And I think that's so fucking cool. Okay, I think we're all on the same page, right? Like, we're doing the monthly curriculum. Sounds like it would be a good idea for us. But I think the most important thing is that we don't want to fall into the bad side of this, obviously. So, how do we keep it wellish? I think the first thing is focusing on that curiosity aspect and not on like clout, like not what looks cool. Like, don't pick the thing that you think is gonna make you look better. Like, for example, for me, something I am genuinely curious about and would love to know more about is the stock market. But if today I chose to do my monthly curriculum on the stock market, it would 100% be because I think I should and I'm supposed to. And that's something that, you see all the time, that you should learn, and who doesn't want more money. So, like, that, is something that maybe I should do, but it would be a little bit more like clout chasey. It would be a little bit more like, yeah, like, I'm going to go on the internet and I'm going to tell people that I'm learning about economics and the stock market and how things like that work, get me a finance man, like, but that's not in alignment with me. You have to actually do something from a place of curiosity. And with that in mind, nobody has to know what your monthly curriculum is. And like, that's the beauty of this. Like, it is 100% for you, and you can share as little or as much as you want to share. So if you want to do your curriculum on cars because you always thought it would be really cool when you're talking to men to know what kind of cars are out there, do it. If you are somebody that wants to learn more about the country of Ukraine, you can learn more about that, and maybe get a little bit more insight on what's going on in the world and what their culture and their history is and what they've experienced over time and what they're experiencing now. Like, if that's something you're interested in, but you don't have to talk about it. You don't have to have like big political conversations with people if you don't want to do that. It can literally just be for your own benefit and for your own education. If you want to learn about how to have better sex, you can learn about that. It's literally coming from a strict place of curiosity because you genuinely want to know more information about it. Like I said, there's that girl that was doing it on Octopi. There was somebody that was doing it on a city that was her favorite city that she ever traveled to. It has to be something that makes you light up, that you feel like you can do this and incorporate this into your life without force, that you just are genuinely fucking curious about this thing. So you're interested in learning more about that thing. The next thing you got to do to keep it wellish is keep a flexible structure. Okay. Like, maybe you do this 2-3 times a week. Maybe it's not every single day. Maybe it is for 10 minutes every single day, if that's something that works better for you. Maybe you do it for a little while and then you skip a couple days and then you come back to it. Maybe it's something that you do every couple weeks, who knows? My therapist was just telling me, because I was telling her about like my freelance article brain dilemma, and she was saying how she's been to several author panels and how they they structure their writing process and talking about their writing process. And she says that every single author literally has said that they have put their writing up on the shelf for 6 months or a year and they come back to it. Like you are allowed to make this structure whatever you want to make it. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to get it done. You have to trust yourself that because it's inside of you, because it's rattling around inside of your brain, you will make that happen. Have faith in yourself that you want it, so you will go get it, no matter how long that takes or how you make that happen. Trust the process. And more importantly, for real, trust yourself. When we say things, like I said, I've seen online with this so many times, like, I hope I stick with it this time. That's not coming from a place of self trust because you've proven to yourself in the past that you don't follow through with things. So it's caused this mistrust. Allow this to be something that builds your self trust, proving to yourself that you can stick with it for as long as you choose and want to stick with it by making it as small as possible so that you do follow through with it, as small as possible and as enjoyable as possible. The next thing to do to make it wellish is to remove the grade book. There is no pressure to do this with a certain outcome in mind. There is no rigidness, timeline that you need to abide by. This is just however you want it to be, and there's no you did it good or you did it bad. You just did it. It's that simple. Next, study in a way that fuels you. Like, don't do what you think you have to do, and it was the thing that you hated most in school. Like, because you took all these notes in school, but you fucking hated taking notes, don't think that you have to take notes in order to learn or know more about this. If you want to just read the book or watch the documentary or listen to the podcast, you can do that. Like, you don't have to take notes if you don't want to. You can journal about your experience. Like, you can just do your learning and then you just like do a self-reflection journal afterwards and kind of like spitball all of the things that it made you think and what new perspectives you have now. Like, nothing too structured, just like literally word vomiting onto the page and seeing what realizations you come up with, because I bet you would be surprised if you put it onto paper and didn't just leave it rattling in your head. It doesn't get anywhere when it's rattling in your head. You got to write it down to really make sense of it. Absolutely, 100%. Believe me, I know. I'm so guilty of that. You can write little messy notes if you want to. Like, it doesn't have to be anything crazy structured. You can just write things you liked, things that resonated with you, things that you thought were cool. You don't have to write what you think like is going to help you really pack this into your brain. If you want to make flashcards, do it. Like, if that's something, I know people that love making flashcards. So if that's something that you think would help you, absolutely go for it. You can make the flashcards and you can study the flashcards if you feel like it. Or you can make the flashcards because you enjoy making flashcards and you think they're cute and you got cute pens and you want to make them like look pretty, but then you never want to touch them ever again. You don't have to ever touch them ever again. You literally have to make the studying what you want to make of it. Allow for reassessment. If you're going through a topic and you're bored and you don't really like it, pivot. Do something else. Maybe reading through a certain topic will give you an idea for a deeper dive on a topic within that topic. Pivot. Go learn more about that thing. You're not paying for a course. You're not being graded. There's nobody that's going to tell you you did something wrong if you don't stick with the thing that doesn't interest you anymore. I understand there's an element of consistency to this, like you have to have a little bit of self discipline and consistency, I suppose, but we're not doing this for results. We're doing this because we want to learn and grow and like that be the result. So if you're done learning about a certain thing, you get to a point and you're like, nah, I'm done learning about that. Switch, do something else. There's no harm in that. You didn't do anything bad by doing that. You're not a failure for switching topics and trying to learn something new. Share your monthly curriculum with people mindfully, whether you're sharing it online or you're sharing it with your friends and family. Just make sure that you're not sharing it from a performative place, that it's just something that comes up naturally in conversation and you share as much or as little as you want to share. You don't have to tell a motherfucking soul that you're doing this. But if you want to scream it from the rooftops, do it because you could inspire somebody else to try to learn something new and reconnect with themselves more. But just make sure it's not coming from a place of performance or trying to gain approval from other people. And my last tip to keep this wellish is to mix it into your life wherever it fits. If you are somebody that feels like you already have a full schedule, so like how could I even add a monthly curriculum into my schedule that just doesn't sound like something that I would have an area for? You don't have an area for it because you've already structured your day. Like your day is already structured the way it is. But if you want to include something, you just have to restructure. So find an area that you think would benefit you the most. Try different ones. Maybe it's 10 minutes before bed. Maybe it's when you wake up in the morning and instead of grabbing your phone and scrolling for a little while, you roll over and you read one of your books and then maybe you write something about it in a journal afterwards. And that helps wake your brain up so that you can start the day. Maybe you do a little bit on your lunch hour. Maybe you have downtime at work that you can do this in. Make it work for you. Like you have to be mindful of the fact that if you want to incorporate something new, you have to restructure how this fits. It's not just going to like magically fit into your day and you force it into a certain area and now I'm burnt out because I haven't restructured my day. I'm just shoving something and adding something new in there. It would make it a lot more difficult to stick with and make it something that lasts. Let us all bear witness to a really rare, monumental moment that a self improvement trend has been Wellish approved. I think the monthly curriculum can be really, really beneficial to us as long as we don't fall into one of the two extremes of hustle culture or surrendering, giving up. If we can maintain the sweet spot between those two and we're mindful of the ways that this could go wrong, that we could beat ourselves up and it could turn into something burnouty and bad, I think we're golden. Like, I think we could really find greatness in this, not just because we're learning something new, like, not in the simple fact of that itself, but in the ways that it could really benefit us as a person, like in our personal development, the ways that it can strengthen your confidence for setting out and doing something you said you were going to do, the way it builds self trust for setting out and following through on something that you said that you were going to do, the way that it allows you to connect with yourself, get to know yourself better, know what you like, the way that it expands your world, expands your knowledge, expands your point of view and your perspectives. I think that it is a really good way to have purpose and meaning and structure and routine. Like there are so many benefits outside of just learning something cool and new and that being a fun new part of your life. And we can do it in a very wellish way, in a very realistic, imperfect way. And I think it's something that everybody should absolutely try to incorporate. It is not the end of a motherfucking episode without the question of the week. And we need the question of the week because we need our real life issues and problems to prove to ourselves that we can be imperfect and we can still be good enough. So, this week's question says, "Hey Sarah, hi. I have been hearing a lot about habit stacking lately, but I feel like I just end up stacking a bunch of stuff I don't actually want to do. I just think I should do. How do you know when you're building a habit because it's actually good for you versus just because it's something you should do?" Okay, first of all, I want to be really honest about something, and it's not going to be something that is very like therapist approved. Okay, this is well ish. All right, but it's the truth. It's really genuinely how I feel. And I tell you this because I believe that everybody is an individual and things work different for different individuals. But I personally don't like habit stacking. I understand that there are studies that back it up and that it should work and it could work, but it doesn't work for me because I am an adult with my own free will. And if I just simply choose to not do something, I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm not going to feel like doing it. I have to feel like doing it in order to learn how to do it. So that's where we are coming from. Like, if we break it down and find the root of the issue, so again, I have to feel like doing it in order to make myself do it. What can I do instead of how can I make this happen by habit stacking and forcing this external behavior? How can I make myself feel like it? And coming from that place first. But in order to do that, we come to your question. How do you know if it's actually good for you versus if it's something you think you should do? If it's something you think you should do, you probably don't feel like doing it. If it's something you think you should do, it's coming from a place of performance. If it's something you think you should do, it's because some external stimuli made you feel like you needed to do that thing in order to be good enough. But the truth is it doesn't align with your internal experience. I think the things that are actually good for you are the things that you don't have to force, the things that make you feel good. Okay, Sarah, so if I don't have to force it, how am I ever supposed to incorporate any new habit into my life? Identity based change, go listen to last week's episode. Okay. But I swear to God, it's the truth. Like, you have to allow yourself to take micro action every single day and build upon that micro action and allow time to take its course and incorporate this new habit into your life. You're not expecting it to be something that happens every single day at first. You're expecting to make mistakes at first. You're expecting for it to not be perfect. You're expecting to fall off and to get back on. But you build the self trust by always getting back on and showing up and it rattling around in your brain and it being something that you want to do, that it's something that you will eventually get to a stage of change that is more integrated into your life, that you can maintain this for the long term. But we get so hyper wrapped up in instant gratification that when we start to incorporate these new habits into our life and we're not having immediate results, that they're just naturally a part of us now, we get discouraged. And then I think that's when we start to try things like habit stacking, because it's a real studied thing that we can do to try to incorporate habits. But if you don't feel like doing it, you're not going to do it. It's that simple. Okay, if you have a question of the week, DM it to me. That's the easiest way for me to see it. You can do that on TikTok or on Instagram at Wellish Podcast. You can also, while you're there, follow that TikTok because I post vlogs and mini chats about self improvement and personal development all motherfucking day long. All the quotes, all that good kind of stuff. So make sure to check that out so you can maintain your Wellish identity mentality throughout the entire week. Also, if you feel like it, you can follow me, Sarah.Rittendale, on Instagram as well. Thank you so much for being here. You can always rely on me to keep it real with you. So I think that this monthly curriculum is something you should definitely try if it's something that sparks your interest and lights something up inside of you, even just a little bit. And if it's not, then you don't have to do it at all. No big deal. Just on to the next episode, and I will talk to you guys next week. All right. Talk to you then. Love you. Bye.